Hey everyone, Anthony here, and I'm at the Edicion Cigar Bar in downtown Philadelphia for a very unique pairing. So let's get into it. So I have to say, I am super excited about this tasting today. First of all, I've never had this whiskey. And Carlos, the manager here at Edicion Cigar Bar, when he told me about the processing of the whiskey and of course the tasting notes, I wanted to pick a special cigar that would pair really well with it. So before we get into the cigar, let's talk about the bourbon. Legent was created as a collaboration between Jim Beam and Suntory. So the best of traditional bourbon making in Kentucky, and obviously Suntory in Japan. And this whiskey was created to celebrate the collaboration between the two distilleries. But a very unique bourbon when you think about the tasting notes and also the process. So the first step of the process is aged in white oak. And what do you know about white oak? White oak as traditional bourbon flavors, those vanilla, those caramel notes, right? Then it moves on to sherry casks, which gives it its deep amber color, but also that raisiny quality, that spicy quality. Then it's finished in wine barrels, which gives it a fruity note, a tannic, acidic note. So you're talking about layers of flavor and complexity. So that's why today, for this pairing with this bourbon, I chose the Aroma de Cuba Edicion Especial. When I think of layers of flavor and complexity and very much a finesse cigar, I think of the Aroma de Cuba Edicion Especial. So, back to the bourbon. On the nose, what I get is definitely those classic vanilla notes, but accompanied by oak and a little bit of spice. But there's also fruit there, really complex on the nose already. Wow. Very complex whiskey. So, absolutely vanilla notes, oaky notes. There's a raisin quality to it. And definitely a spice to it, which I like because that's contrast between that raisiny quality, which you can imagine is very sweet and pronounced, and then you have that spice that kind of cuts it. And the finish is very long, and it has those notes of fruit that may be from the wine barrels that it's finished in. And then when you're talking about the EE, this is a quintessential complex cigar. Ecuadorian Habano wrapper, Nicaraguan filler binder. The leading note of this cigar is definitely more leathery, kind of Cuban-esque flavors. A lot of spice. I would put the cigar medium to full-bodied. It definitely doesn't get lost in this bourbon because obviously you don't want the spirit to overpower the cigar or the cigar to overpower the spirit. But complexity all the way. I mean, this bourbon is exceptional. And you know, I always love when you're talking about fusing tradition with nouveau techniques. So you're talking about Jim Beam, historic distillery, right, in Kentucky. They collaborate with Suntory in Japan. And the Japanese whiskeys that are out there, they're always refined. They're always kind of trying to improve, reinvent whiskey. So it's like when worlds collide and there's tradition there, and obviously there's new ways and new techniques of adding layers of flavor and subtleties and like elegance. That's the best you could ask for. And when you're talking about a cigar like the Edicion Especial, that's the same way. You're talking about tradition, the My Father factory, years of cigar lineage, mixed it with nouveau blends, new world blends. That is the best of both worlds. So my final thoughts on this pairing, again, I've never had this Legent. It's a phenomenal bourbon. I love the yin and yang of it, the contrast, the marriage between the two distilleries, and I think it's an exceptional, perfect pairing with the Aroma de Cuba Edicion Especial. So I want to thank you for joining me, but before we depart, make sure you hit that like button, you smash that subscribe button, and I'll see you here next time.